Hope everyone's having a great day. Ignite week. Woo! I feel like I should use some fire sound effects, right? Like, whoosh. Instead, we are going to power it up because this is November 2025 for the Power Platform Community Call, and we are so excited and welcome everybody. My name is David Warner from Quizzitive, and I am joined by my fantastic co-presenters today and co-hosts. April, Kate, and Shane will be here soon, so we look forward to everything that we have in store for our call. And what is in store, you ask? I'm so glad you asked. We've got our community resources, community samples, Power Platform news and events. We're going to have our group picture time with Together Mode. So get those fantastic faces ready. And then the all-stars of the day are going to be here to share with us their passion. Ian's going to kick it off, the death of manual docs. I know death is bad, but in this case, it works. A DevOps approach to Power Platform documentation. And Vipul's going to share with us managing Dataverse security rules with Power Apps. And Sailaja is going to round it out with supercharging Power Apps with Azure Functions. So we have such a broad spectrum of awesome technology to learn from today. Super excited. But first, there are so many resources available for each and every one of us in the community. Let's just give a quick look. We've got our YouTube channel. This is the Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel where we are breaking all the rules. They've been telling us, you got a lot of content and you maybe should share less. And we say, nope, we're sharing more every single day, in fact. And the metrics show that you all want to see more. So we are sharing every day of the week, in fact. So be on the lookout, go subscribe, and you can be updated with all the amazing content that we are sharing from folks like you. These calls, demos in these calls, all get shared in that subscription channel. So definitely go like and subscribe. We've got our LinkedIn group for discussions. We've got our open source tooling. We've got all these sample galleries that span the spectrum of Microsoft technology. And you only need to remember one URL to gain access to it, not a plethora, even though it means a lot. We only want you to have to remember one or two, maybe ak.ms/community/home or community.ms. That's our fancy top level domain. So easy to remember, easy to go to. Check it out. Now, we also may be thinking during this call, hey, these are some really cool demos. I bet I could do that. Could I? Does anybody really want to hear what I have to share? Yes, absolutely. Don't second guess it. If you are working with technology that you are passionate about and you think it's cool, share it with the community. We absolutely welcome you. If you're a new presenter, let us know. We will assist you in setting up the presentation. Even if you wanted to co-present with us, we'll make a buddy system out of it. It'll be a team effort. So don't second guess it. Definitely share your passion. All you got to do is go fill out the form, ak.ms/community/request/demo. It's not a slasher film, but we do give you the URL with lots of slashes. So definitely go check it out, fill it out, and let us know. Now, we've got all kinds of samples that are available and badges. So Kate's going to be here to tell us about those samples. Kate, what do you say?
Yeah, hello David, hello everybody. So we don't have any new updates for sample solution galleries today, but the good news is that we already have a strong collection of high quality samples here. They cover a wide range of scenarios, help you kickstart projects faster, and offer solid ideas for architecture and for implementation. So take a look, explore them, use them for your work, and of course contributions are always welcome. The gallery grows through the community, so every contribution makes it even better. So follow the link and explore the guidance, how to contribute, or reach out to me, and I will be more than happy to support you and make your code submission ready and guide you through all these steps. Thank you all for your contributions, and let's keep it growing and make awesome additions as well. Yeah, thank you. Back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Kate, and great job in helping manage all of those samples. And friends, yes, there are lots here to find. There are lots to contribute to, and it kind of might be a little overwhelming, right? That's possible, but don't let it be. We've got systems here in place to help you. So we've got our next Sharing is Caring coming up next month, and we know it's that time of year where everyone's spending a little bit more time together at home with family, so that's fine. We're trying to be sensitive to that, but we know that you might have a little extra time that you want to spend with the community, learning new things. So we're going to get a couple of them scheduled in December for you. These are live hands-on sessions. We just had one last month that provides guidance on how to use those things within the community, whether you're wanting to use samples or contribute to samples. We know it's driven by GitHub, and that Git of hubs, that hub of Gits can be confusing with weird terms like blame and fork and raw and pull request. What do all these things mean? We will demystify it. And we're going to do it together in a live Teams call, hands-on, and it's a safe space. So you do not need to worry about it being recorded. You are free to ask any and all questions that you would like. We are there to learn together. So don't hesitate, be on the lookout. We'll let you know on these calls when the next one is scheduled, but we're getting them going now, just trying to work around everyone's vacations. to make sure they do have the time to take with their families. And it is a real contribution, by the way. And why does that matter? Well, Natalie's excited because this is where our community recognition program comes in. Powered by Credly, showcasing your contributions. We've got all of the fantastic favorite things like Prompt Pro, Snippet Sorcerer. The season of getting is back. Slice of Samples is back. We still have our Gigabit and Back to the Community contributors. And of course, we're introducing some fun new Home Alone and Elf-themed badges to show that you're making a difference. This is my community. I must contribute. And contributing is my favorite. So we absolutely encourage you to go earn these. They are lots of fun, but they are real and they are accredited. So be proud of them because they show you're making a difference. You can absolutely show them to your bosses and say, I'm getting involved in ways that my peers are not. Show them to your clients that you're making a difference in the community as a leader. These showcase that, but we do like to have fun and find fun ways to recognize the amazing work that you're doing. So don't hesitate. They are absolutely free. You just got to earn one or make one or two contributions through the next 2 months of November and December, and you can get access to all these. They're absolutely free. You just got to opt in, ak.ms/community/recognition. We cover the cost. We'll track the work you're doing, and we will send these badges out. Some are going to be going out tomorrow. I was just running some scripts last night, so be on the lookout, everybody. And speaking of contributors, we have got so many amazing contributors. We're calling them out each month now. This is a fantastic initiative to bring back. We're so excited to be able to recognize these. If you're in the recognition program and you make a contribution, these are where we're getting these names from. So it's easy for us to be able to go grab those. So thank you for all. In fact, we've got 2 slides to show off. Take a screenshot of these. You can find them in the video. Find them in my LinkedIn summary, or excuse me, my screenshot summary. So don't hesitate to share them with your manager, share them with your organization, show that you are making a difference. So thank you for everyone that is doing amazing stuff. Great work. Keep it up. Now let's take a look at some upcoming Power Platform events and conferences. So we've got Dallas TechCon 365 just finished up. We've got FabCon coming up in March, and we're back in Chicago next June. So be on the lookout for that. There's going to be lots of very cool opportunities to collaborate with the community at these events, and they're always great. We've also got Ignite. I think is this happening soon? Yeah, right now. So don't hesitate if you're already involved. I'm sure it's not too late because there's still some things going on that you can learn about, and of course, I'm sure some videos that you can watch. We also have ESPC coming up in Dublin in December, so that's right around the corner. And then, of course, we've got ECS, which is kind of a hat trick of events coming up in May. It's covering 3 different topics, or 3 different technological categories, I should say. So definitely check that out. I know I'll be there, Investa will be there, and a number of other folks from the community will be there. It's an exciting time. It's a great opportunity. All these are, and that's not all. We also have amazing community events, and the amount of effort that goes into these community events is unparalleled because these are not paid events in most cases. They are just built by love. And so we want to support them anywhere we can. Some are in person, some are online, some are hybrid. So if you have an opportunity to support them, whether it be virtually or in person, go do that. And hey, let them know that you appreciate. Let the organizers know that you appreciate them. It is a great way to be able to show support for those putting out all that effort in the community like we all are. It can never go wrong to say thank you. Okay, let's get into the news, and we're going to start with some notes from the field with Mr. Shane Young. Welcome, Shane.
Hello. Sorry that I'm late. What do you do?
You're fashionably on time.
There you go. So notes from the field this month. So the first one is, are you feeling the vibes? I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, but David was just talking about the Ignite keynote was yesterday. And one of the things that got announced was this new thing called vibe.powerapps.com, right? And so vibe.powerapps.com is a whole new interface for building Power Apps. And it's a whole new type of Power App, right? We've had Canvas apps, we've had model-driven apps, and then we had this whole idea of code apps. But so now we can use the Vibe coding to build Power Apps that are built on top of React. The app is built on React. The backend is Dataverse, and it's kind of a version of Microsoft Plan, the whole Plan Designer thing. But it's a new one. It's pretty cool. It is very interesting. I think it is something that we should all be checking out. As you can imagine, I made a lovely video on it yesterday as well. So check it out. But I don't know. It's just something new. I don't think it's fundamentally changing anything today, but it's something to keep your head wrapped around and, and just be curious about. So go check those out, start experimenting. It is only US based right now. Someone in chat is saying RIP Canvas apps. I don't think that's the case. There's a whole lot I can do with a Canvas app that vibe coded app is not going to do for a long time. But it doesn't mean that it's not something that we could consider for maybe those really simple lower apps. So check that one out. The second thing on my notes for the field, keeping up, and that lovely little expression I put on top of the sheep's face there, like that is sums up how I feel right now, right? There is so much new things coming out, and I just want you all to, like, if you're feeling overwhelmed and feeling like, oh my goodness, how do I even do? Like, it is literally my job to keep up with all the new things that are happening and coming out. And I feel overwhelmed and just want to go like hide under my desk and cry a little bit. It's okay. So if you're feeling that way, like, you're in good company. So don't let it stress you out, right? Like, there's a lot happening. There's a lot of interesting things. Like, you want to think about it. You want to be in the know. You want to at least understand that now we have vibe.powerapps.com, but don't feel like, hey, I got to go out there and now spend my whole weekend learning how to build on top of this thing. Like, it's not that. Like, try to keep a good idea of what's going on, where things are headed, the trends that we're seeing, but don't let it overwhelm you. Like, you still got your day job. You still got to keep doing what you're doing today. You can't throw your hands up on frustration. You can't stop. You just need to understand that, yes, you need to know what these things are, but not overdo it. If you want my opinion, if you're like, hey, but I want to go deep into one of these new things, I still think the answer for all of us is Copilot Studio, right? Our skills make us the best people at building agents, right? Half of Copilot Studio is Power Apps and Power Automate. So I think that's where you should be focused if you want to go deep in one of these things, but don't try to go deep in all these new things. You'll just get overwhelmed. So anyway, there's my 2 cents for the notes from the field. Lots of amazing stuff coming out. Try to keep up from the standpoint of at least an idea of what's happening, but don't go get lost in the weeds in any of these new things quite yet.
Awesome. Yep. I wholeheartedly agree, Shane. And you know what? The community is a great way to help keep up. These calls are a great way to help keep up. So always keep them on your calendar. I call them a crystal ball into what's now, what's new, what's next. And if you are feeling overwhelmed, don't worry. They'll change it tomorrow. That's a great thing.
For sure.
Is there's always going to be new things that we can feel overwhelmed with. So let's figure it out together. All right. Let's move into some of those new things to actually get excited about. April Dunham, tell me more.
All right, well, so Shane already talked about the vibe.powerapps.com experience. So all the news and announcements are from Ignite because there were so many Power Platform ones. I'm just scratching the surface with some of these. So if you haven't checked it out, go watch the keynote, see what you can do with these kind of new type of apps like Shane was talking about. We talked about samples too. I would love to see some vibe coded Power App samples here in the repo. If you do, check that out. Other thing on the Power Apps side that's pretty interesting that was announced was this Power Apps MCP server. So this kind of gives our agents a way to be able to call capabilities that are built into our Power Apps. So think like submitting approvals and filling out forms and retrieving records and all of that using that consistent MCP protocol. So it really gives us that structured way to be able to expose our app functionality to our agents. So that's pretty interesting. On the Copilot Studio side, we have this new evaluations feature. So it allows us to run these automated tests so that we can really better measure our agents' performance against these test scenarios and criteria that we run. Other things as well in Microsoft 365 Copilot and the agents that we build, we can now enable those to create Word, Excel, and PowerPoint files. I thought that was pretty interesting, just adding more capability of what we can do in our Microsoft 365 Copilot agents. Another big one that it might be a little confusing, what does Agent 365 mean? I think this is kind of a bigger thing when it comes to being able to have better control over agents. So the way I would describe this, it's like air traffic control for your AI agents. It gives every agent its own identity so that you can set guardrails, know what they access, see how they're performing, all of that, and be able to really secure them in Defender and Purview. So, think you don't have to have an agent that, has access directly to your calendar. The agent can have its own calendar that it can go and send emails from. Pretty interesting, I think pretty big feature that was announced. And of course, there are a ton more announcements. So go to the book of news if you haven't already and watch Ignite this week to check out more information to see all of the Power Platform announcements.
Awesome. Thank you, April. All right. Lots of exciting stuff, but it is time for some more exciting stuff, which is picture time, right? So assume the picture time position, everybody. We are going to take a together mode here. There's Vessa warming up. There's Shane. Oh, I get to sit next to Shane and Ian. I love it. Get those cameras turned on. I see Marcus. I see everybody else. All right, you're popping in. There's Kate. Awesome. So let me get Camtasia. We are doing just about right on time. So we'll make this fast. And come on, Camtasia, you can do it. There we go. We'll move this over here, and we are ready to go. So let's give it one more second just to see if any other cameras get turned on. We know there's a little lighter attendance today because of Ignite, but we will start the countdown. Let's do 3, 2, and 1, and wave to the community, everybody. Love, love, love to see all the smiling faces and the waves, and Ian's doing the dance. Great, great, great passion. Thank you all for everything you're doing. It is just absolutely amazing. So we could not say thank you enough. Really, really appreciate it. Okay, let's keep on track with our scheduled program here, and we are going to move into the demos, which is the all-star time of the day. Ian is going to kick it off. He's going to cover the death of manual docs, a DevOps approach to Power Platform documentation. Ian, my friend, take it away.
Hello there. Thank you very much for having me along. So yes, so today I'm going to talk to you about the DevOps approach to Power Platform documentation, and I'm going to introduce you to a solution that I've built that will allow you to do that. So what's the problem we're looking at? We've got a solution that we've worked really hard on, and we keep iterating this solution, we keep building this solution, we keep pushing it out into DevOps, and it gets updated. But we need certainty that that thing is being documented correctly, because we've got downstream teams that need to look at it or report on it, or maybe we're an enterprise architect and we need to know that what we've ordered, we've ordered a chicken and we need to make sure we haven't got steak, and it's if you don't have immediate access to that environment, it's not something you can necessarily do. So how do we solve this problem? Well, I've built an extension, but before I go into that, let's tell you about me. So my name's Ian Tweedie. I'm a senior technical consultant at Capgemeni. I also do some professional coaching. My professional background is 18 years in the tech industry. I started off in tech support roles, even worked on telephone servers, Nastrix servers, which were great fun. I've gone through all the years of users shouting at me and things like that. But I found myself moving on to Power Platform. I've got 16 or so certifications in Microsoft. Community-wise, I've written 16 community tools, of which this is one of them I'm going to show you today. Get around 500,000 hits a month across my community tools, which is quite nice. So that's people like calling them or using them in Power Automate flows. Trustee for Prosper Learning Trust. I run a blog, my tour, Power Platform Clinic, my mentoring hub. Oh, anybody based in the Newcastle area in the UK, we've got our next user group, 27th November. Come along, Power Platform user group. So yeah, that's kind of about me and what I do. But let's get back to this tool. So prerequisites. We're assuming at this point that you have exported your solution and it is sat in DevOps. If you've not done that before, or if that's a new concept for you, or you're thinking, oh, well, I know another way of doing it, but I've not done that, scan that QR code, watch that video. There is a step-by-step deep dive on how to very simply pick your solution up, take it from Dataverse, and drop it into DevOps. So I'm going to quickly show you what that looks like. So when you do that, you get your repository, you've got your solution, and of course, if you follow my guide, you'll get an SRC folder, and in it, you've got your unpacked solutions. You've got your entities or tables, as they're known as now. You've got your roles. You've got things like option sets or choices, as they're known as. You'll see a lot of the old terms kicking around in these, but you can unpack. Now, what you have in there is you've just got a lot of JSON and lots of XML, which I can read it and I know what's changed, but that doesn't necessarily make sense to normal people. Maybe I'm not normal, but that doesn't make sense to everybody else. So how do we get across that boundary? Well, so as I said earlier, I've written a free open source tool. It's built for the community. Anyone can use it. Anyone can download it today. So how do you get it? So you go to the Visual Studio Marketplace and you just download it, and it'll install it into your DevOps environment. Now, if you're not the admin of your DevOps environment, it'll just go as pending for someone else to do it. But they can come along, they can check it out, they can see it's got all the relevant badges, it's got all the relevant checks. And to install it, it's as difficult as pressing a button and making a cup of tea. So once you've got that into your environment, we can do quite a few things with it. We've got choice that it can document out our choices, our security roles, our solution manifest. which came from a request someone gave me. Tables, table relationships, table ER diagrams, workflows. It can almost do. That's a preview feature. It's working, then not working. So yeah, we're not going to look at that. But it's a preview. You can play with it if you want. If it works for you, fantastic. If you can work out why it's not working, I'd really appreciate your feedback. We've also got a diagrams converter. That's cool. We've also got a Word docx converter. So we're going to look at 3 of these today because we only have about 10, 12 minutes. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our YAML pipeline and we're going to add some variables to it. Now that sounds really scary, but I promise you it's not. You know, we can go through this step by step. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some variables. We're then going to add a task. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So we come and edit our pipeline. And you can copy and paste these from my blog post or from this presentation, because this presentation will be available afterwards. And we just drop them straight into our pipeline. Now we're going to use those variables later on. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create some space further on, and we're just going to type here, we can put documentation, because we might as well document our pipeline. If we're doing a documentation pipeline, that would be cool. And then we're going to come over to this side of the screen and we're going to search for one of these tools. Now, the one we're going to look for is the table relationship documentation, because we just want to map out the table relationships. And this is the one I get the most hits on and the one that people ask for the most. And we need to pop 2 variables in here. So we're going to pop in our wiki location, so where we're going to generate those markdown files. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to pop in this where our unpacked solution folder is. So they're the 2 variables we set at the top, and we're just creating them further on. The other thing we can do on there is we can filter by author, because it can get pretty messy, certainly with all the out-of-the-box entities. But we haven't done that today because the solution we're exporting is quite small. So what does that look like? Now, there's a time machine involved here. You'll see this pipeline works incredibly quickly, but those of you who've run pipelines before know that you can make a full cup of coffee or even make it to Starbucks in the time that some of these things take to run. So what the pipeline's done is it's brought the solution out, and then we've worked out what's inside that solution and generated some documentation on the back of it. So let's see what it looks like. Well, when we come into it, we've got some markdown. Now this markdown doesn't look very pretty, but hang on a minute. If we go into preview, we've got all these lovely mermaid diagrams. We can see clearly how one thing links to another. Now this one is just looking at the relationships and documenting out the relationships. Now you can see the ER diagram for the whole thing is looking pretty messy. So that's why we have the individual per table ER diagrams. But obviously you can see there, you may, why you want to pull out particular authors. Now you see, I didn't really put an author in there. I just used an out of the box one. Now, hang on a minute, that's cool, but we want to get all the way to Word. Like my client doesn't read Markdown. If I chuck a Markdown document on my client, they're just going to look at me and wave their arms. So we're going to add 2 more variables. Now these variables are wiki output and Word. Now what they're going to do is they're going to turn our current output into something more digestible, and then it's going to turn that output into a Word document. So let's see what we have to do to make that happen. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to add 2 more steps. Now we can copy and paste these steps, or we can use the search way of doing it. I'm going to copy and paste them in, but you can see here we've got convert inline diagrams. That's going to convert that mermaid code into actual pictures. We're going to then convert that into a Word document. So let's see if that works. Now, the other thing we're going to do is we're also going to convert it into our own Word document templates, because our client wants things done in their branding, not just some generic branding. And we wouldn't want to rebrand documents constantly. That wouldn't be very efficient. We wouldn't save any time there. So we've got this convert diagram step, and you can see it takes the import of our wiki location, so where we've just output our wiki to, and it's going to output it to another location. So we've kind of got a with pictures, so without pictures and then with pictures. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab this step called convert to docx. And I'm just going to copy and paste it because I want it to run twice. The reason I want it to run twice is because I'm going to have an out-of-the-box one, and then going to have one where I've branded it. So to do that, I'm just going to change the output location slightly, and I'm just going to put in a folder called with template. The other thing we do is this Cody view, YAML view, you can click on the settings button, and you can get the kind of low-code view. Now, we have a Word document that we're going to upload to our repository, and we're going to call it tech Tweedie Word template docx. So let's upload that now. Grab our Word template. And we're just going to commit that to our repository. So everything's just hanging around in this repository, nice and simple. Now we're going to run this pipeline. I'm going to see this time machine work again. And what it's going to do is it's going to extract that solution from our source environment. It's going to unpack it, going to convert all the inline diagrams. Look, 4 minutes, 24 seconds. You know, that was a really quick 4 minutes. Then it's going to convert it across into Word. So let's see what that looked like. So let's click on our wiki output. Now our wiki output, we can see here we've got some diagrams and we've got some nice pretty PNG files. Now we can use them later. I've got another tool that will use them. But if we come into this Word output, we can see we've got this table relationships docx. Let's download it and have a look, see what's inside. And what we have there is we've got our Word document, and it's put it out. Now, it needs some topping and tailing. It needs some tarting up, but we've got our output there. Now, let's see what it looks like with the template. So we can take that, we can edit it, we can jazz it up, and then we can put it back into our repository. So we'll use that as a template. And look, I could put some branding on the top. I've changed the color of H1s. I should have really put it in landscape as well when I saved the template, but let's do that now. And we can edit it, or we could add something to it if we wanted to, but ideally we want to try and put as much into that template as possible, so we don't have to. We can just print this off each time and get it going. And we can see there, we've got an output of our environment. Now this is just one of them. I've got this for umpteen other particular parts of the solution, but obviously we can't demonstrate them all today. So what have we accomplished? We have exported our solution, we've converted it into Markdown documents, and then we've turned those Markdown documents into Word documents so we can ship them to our client. Now, why would we want to do this? Knowledge transfer. We can enhance the maintenance and we can make troubleshooting a bit easier. We've got that increased collaboration alignment. Someone might be working on one Power Platform solution. We might be working on a different one in different environments, and they need to do some talking, or we've got some integration to do with some people who don't use Power Platform. Governance and compliance. So times when clients want to know, I want to know exactly what's in there. Where can you download this? You go to mytora.io, which is where I put all my tools, all my open source stuff. It's all free. You can get it off there. You'll also find another tool on there which takes Markdown documents that have been output and put them into a DevOps wiki, which I can't demo today, but that's what we'd use that Markdown for, that kind of output folder for, which means you can share it with everyone. And there's that website where you can do that. So there's mytora.io, and you can see I've got pipeline tools there, Power Platform templates and connectors and various other things on there. Finally, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. If you've got any feedback, or if you've got any comments, or you want to send me any information now, that really helps me drive forwards and move and carry on with my journey. So please scan that QR code, click on the link. I think David's going to pop it in the chat for me. And that really helps me. So please, please, please do that. If you fill that out, it will take you to a page where you can look at the presentation right now, and you can copy and you can implement this today if you wanted to, if you've got that kind of playground. But thank you very much for listening.
Ian, super cool. Great job. Timing was perfect. We talked before. Ian had so many ideas, so much packed in here, and he's got a lot of great tools. So we're going to bring him back again to show off some of those. So really appreciate it, Ian. Thank you so much. Great job. Okay, since you got us perfectly on time, we're going to welcome Vipul. Vipul, go ahead and start taking over the screen share if you'd like. Vipul is going to tell us about managing Dataverse security roles with Power Apps. Take it away.
Great. Thank you, David. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, I just see in Teams. You just want to throw that into presentation mode, and you're on your way.
Great. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Vipul. I work as a solution architect, Power Platform solution architect out here in Bosch in Bangalore, India. And today I'm going to talk about how you can manage your users in Dataverse security roles and how you can manage it using Power Apps and Power Automate. So I will directly jump to the problem statement or scenario. So what happens while working on one of the assignment? There was a requirement of managing the users within the security role, because within that security role, I was supposed to manage basically the user permissions or the authorization of the overall app. So since the authorization of the app is managed through security role, it was also intended to manage the users in that security role in the Power Platform environment. And to manage that security roles, there was always an admin user or a super user of the app who is the kind of a business user as well. And they wanted a screen where they can manage those users. And that's where this idea came in, that how you can add, delete, or get all the users basically from a security role. So what I did was, as a solution or an implementation, that basically I created a screen, a UI screen, where an admin user can basically add the user, delete the user, or get all the users, get to know all the users who are there in the security group. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate today, that how I achieved this during my implementation. But before that, I just want to cover a small, very small concept in terms of Dataverse security roles and the table relationships in Dataverse. So in Dataverse, when you assign the security roles, they are stored basically in a Dataverse table. We can't see this by default in Dataverse, but as you can see, there is always a relationship, many-to-many relationship between the security role and the user table. So this basically it's an intersect table which is having many-to-many relationship. So if you go to user table within the Dataverse tables, you see definitely a relationship. If you go to relationship, there you will see a relationship between the security role and the user table. So that's just a concept. I just used it. And during my implementation approach, what I did, that I implemented a add delete user from a security role in Power Apps, because in Power Apps, if you go to Power Apps Canvas app, that is not possible directly to add or delete a user from a security role in Power Apps. So you have to use the Power Automate. Then only you can achieve that functionality. And even if you want to get all the members of a security role, let's say I want to show it in a gallery control, that is not directly possible in Power Apps, but yes, you can definitely achieve it using Power Automate. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate now. What you can definitely direct do in Power Apps, what is possible is that you can get the logged in user security roles. That is definitely possible. So for that, you have to use the users table and the security roles table within your app as data sources. And once you add it by using this simple PowerFX formula using show columns lookup, you just look up to the user table, and then you make a connection, make a comparison between Azure AD object ID with your user.enter object ID and .security role. So it will definitely give you all the security roles of the logged in user. That is possible. That is directly possible within Power Apps. So I've also created a YouTube video on this, that how to get the user logged in user security role. But now I will directly jump to the demo part of it, which is related to how to add or delete the users from the security group and how to get the members from the security group as well. So I will jump to the Power Platform environment, and this is a simple Power Apps which I have created, where I just want to add an email address, and I want to demonstrate you that just on the click of a button, I can delete a user. I can add a user in a security role. So if I go to a security role within the Power Platform environment, I've just created a security role with the name, let's say test SR, test security role. And if I go to the members of this security role, for example, there are 3 members currently, Megan, Ruchi, and Vipul. These are the 3 roles which are currently there in this particular security role. Okay. So what I'm going to show you here is that if I pass a particular email address of a user, which I'm doing it from Power Apps, on the click of this particular button, I'm calling a Power Automate, which I'm going to show now. But before that, let me show you a demo that how, let's say there is a user, I'm just adding an email address here, and I just click on this button, add delete user. I am doing an add operation here because that is written in the code that I can show you later. But if I just refresh it, and the user should be added, you can see this particular user, Mudit B, is added in this particular security role from Power Apps. So that is how we can implement this, basically how you can add, delete a user. Now I will show you the implementation very quickly. On the click of this button, what I'm doing is I'm calling a Power Automate flow. So this is my Power Automate flow, Power App, add, delete user. I'm just running it on the click of a button or on select property of this button. I'm passing 3 properties here, which is the email address of the user. You can definitely send a list of users as well. It's not like that you can only do one user or one email address at a time. You can definitely pass an array or a list of users' email address as well. And this I'm passing the security role name. And this is the operation. Basically, you can pass delete or you can pass add. As of now, since I'm passing add, that's why you saw that the user got directly added in the security role. In case if I change it from add to delete, then this operation will delete that particular user as well. But before that, let me show you my Power Automate flow, which I created here, which is Power App, add, delete user. If I just go here quickly and edit it, I just want to show you that how I achieve this particular functionality. Let this Power Automate open, which actually takes the inputs. As I mentioned, 3 inputs. First, it takes the email of the user, which you are sending from your Power App screen. Then what is the role? Let's say, what is the security role name? Which in my case was test SR. And what is the action? Action could be add, delete. So this is just a Power Apps input. Then I'm listing the user from the users table. Basically, this is the filter rows. Internal email address is the internal column name equal to email, which is I'm passing from the Power Apps. This is the list rows user action. And then the magic happens, basically the apply to each. Then I'm listing the rows from the security rows table now. Now, why I'm doing this? Because as I said, there is a many-to-many relationship between the security role and the user table, an intersection table. So there is a relationship between these 2 tables. So I'm just listing the rows from the security roles table as well, where name equal to the role name. I'm just checking that role name, which I'm passing from the Power Apps input. Once this is done, I'm just doing a compose action. Now, this is super important that I'm taking first output of what is my in the security role and odata.id. This took me some time to understand it, very frankly, but yeah, I figured it out. And then in the condition, what I'm just checking here is that what type of action it is. If it is an add action, go to yes. If it is a delete action, go to no. In the add and delete, I am just doing relate and unrelate of the rows. Why? Because relate is a function again, unrelate is a function in PowerFX. In relate, I'm just relating the user table with a particular relationship and the row ID, and I'm just relating it with the compose output. And if it is a delete, then I'm just removing that connection basically between the user and the security row table. So that is how I implemented this particular thing. I'm just closing it now. I just want to show you one more functionality that, let's say you want to get all the users of this particular security role on an admin screen, that also I have implemented. That if I go to the next screen, now in the next screen, you see all the 4 users it shows now, which are there currently in the security role. So this is another implementation. So here I'm just using a simple gallery. If I show you the implementation, this is just a simple gallery I'm using here. And on this gallery, I'm just creating a collection of admin users, and that is how I am getting it. But for this as well, I am actually, I'll show you on the on-visible property. I'm just calling a Power Automate flow again, where I'm just passing the security role name, and I'm just getting the members from the Power Automate flow. Once I get the members or the response basically from the Power Automate flow, I'm just splitting it with a semicolon, and simply I'm putting that particular collection which I've created using clear collect in the gallery items property. So in the gallery items property, if you see here, I'm just putting that collection, and that is how I'm showing the users which are there. So these are two of the demos which I wanted to show you today, that how you can basically add or delete user from a security group, or how you can get all the members. Why this is important? Maybe you might be thinking that why we are doing this activity, because in my particular scenario, there was a requirement of a admin screen where admin wanted to manage these on a user interface. But last but not the least, I just want to share one more information, that not only let's say in the productive environment, if I talk about, it's always recommended not to add the users individually. It's always recommended to have the Azure AD groups. So you create Azure AD groups in your IDM or one identity management, stuff like that. Create a AD group, Azure AD groups, and you can directly add the Azure AD groups within a security role. So you have to create a teams, just create a teams. While creating a teams, you can add the AD group, and then just add that teams within your security role. So that is also possible if you don't want to manage the users individually. And that is also one of the best practice, that you go ahead with the Azure AD groups. So that's all for this demo. Over to you, David.
Vipul, awesome stuff. Thank you so much. Super cool to show the efficiency of all these things and how we can improve. And none of these things are going to be like a massive shift to the productivity that we have every day, but every little bit counts and they add up. So don't underestimate the power of these kinds of things. And thank you for bringing this to the community to share as well. Super cool. Okay, well, let's get into our last presentation of the day. Sailaja is here. She is our first-time presenter, everybody, by the way. So let's show her all that community support we know we can. She's going to talk about supercharging Power Apps with Azure Functions. Feel free to take on over the screen share and take it away.
Today, I'll be talking about supercharging Power Apps with Azure Functions. So we will be building a digital business card generator and supercharge the Power Apps with Pro Code and use Azure Functions in this case. A little bit about me before we get started. My name is Sailaja Mantripragada. I run a company called lowcodepower.com. I'm a Power Platform architect with around 20 years in the Microsoft space, doing SharePoint, and 7 years of Power Platform. And I'm also a mentor at the Women in Power community. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, and I blog at lowcodepower.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's get started. So let's get into the challenge we're talking about. So Power Apps is really powerful for rapid application development and, as you all know, for a lot of use cases, right? But there are some limitations that are inherent, which sometimes limit you to extend it to enterprise scalable scenarios. So, for example, no custom libraries. The main part is no server-side processing. So everything happens in the PowerFX world. So limited computational capabilities, and if you have to do complex algorithms, it would be difficult. For example, I've taken a use case where we're generating QR codes, which is relatable for everyone. So if you were to generate a QR code for just one contact, that's easy. You could connect your Power App to HTTP connector, call a QR code API and do it, right? But imagine, I'm sure everybody has attended, many of us have attended all these conferences where you have 5,000 people coming to the conference and you want to generate QR codes for all your badges, event badges, right? In those kind of scenarios, Power Platform or Power Apps falls a little short. So the solution is Azure Functions. So what is Azure Function, right? It is Microsoft's serverless compute service that runs code on demand and without managing infrastructure. You do not have to worry about infrastructure. It's serverless. And the best part is it's extremely cost effective. So I said 5,000 runs, right? So you only get charged each time you run that particular function. And we are talking on the bottom of the screen that there's 1 million free executions per month, and 5,000 is really small, right? So it scales automatically, handles any load automatically. What I love about this is you could be running a Java application and be able to call an Azure function written in Python, JavaScript, or C#. So we're using one such Azure function today. This is the architecture. So we have a Power Apps form, and user enters contact information, and Power Apps builds your vCard format string. We send it to Power Automate. So Power Automate, we're using Power Automate for orchestration here. Power Automate calls Azure function that we created. And the Azure function returns a QR. It calls a QR code API and returns a QR code URL to Power Automate, which in turn returns it to our Power Apps. So I'll be generating a business card with all with formatted data. And what happens then is the user scans the QR code and saves contact. Everything happens under 3 seconds. So let's look at the demo. Yeah. Let's refresh just in case. So this is our Power App, a Canvas app. We will be filling out information. And when you say create business card, requesting demo gods to help. Okay, so it creates a neat business card with QR code, right? So let me just scan. I'll see if I'm able to show you what I get. So in the it shows you you're able to directly save your contact from the QR code. So that's what happened. Let's discuss some internals and what happened behind the screens. So like I mentioned earlier, when you click on create business card, internally, I'm calling a Power Automate flow. We have a Power Automate flow called generate QR code. So this flow accepts your contact data that we said from Power Apps, we create a contact card with all these details in it, send it to the flow through the text called contact data, and then you use a compose action to just get what you got from the contact data and convert it into JSON and use a HTTP connector. And here's where I call my Azure function. For authentication, I'm using function keys here. We'll talk about how to make sure you do it better in production. This is for the purpose of the demo. So we call the Azure function. The Azure function returns a QR code URL, and we send back the QR code URL from Power Automate to using this action called respond to a Power App. And the QR code URL is sent back to our Power Apps. So within Power Apps, so again, when we run this, when I say create business card, so what we're doing is the QR code URL that has been sent back, so this image captures we are capturing that QR code URL and then showing it in your nicely formatted business card. So this is the demo I wanted to show. There are internal considerations and strategy that should go into decision making. So back to our slides. So here, like I said, we're doing function level authentication, and we're URL encoding for special characters, and we give back a clean JSON response format. A vCard is a format. It's a universal standard contact information format. It's recognized by all smartphones. You get an instant add to context prompt, no manual data entry required. So, and then, so this is the decision framework I want to talk about. So when to use Azure functions and when not to. So whenever you have complex business logic required, whenever you need to have detailed, complicated runs, right? Like how, if you just want to create one QR code, you're good, but otherwise, when you have complex business logic, multiple API orchestration, external API doesn't support cores. When you have cross-tenant integration, in this case, right? So my Power Automate flow was in a different tenant than my Azure function. So when you have cross-tenant integration, you need to do, it happens in many enterprises. I initially wanted to do everything in one, within one tenant and use an HTTP connector to show you what happens. But I chose to use Power Automate in between because that helps with orchestration and you can actually do cross-tenant integration. So when there's no sensitive data involved, if you're just rapid prototyping for demos, just use and low complexity scenarios, you can use direct API calls from Power Apps. So some other use cases, like I said, event management, QR codes for attendees. If you have to, you're in healthcare, you want to create patient wristbands, anything that almost involves complex, custom ML model predictions. Document processing is a big scenario. Huge computations happen within a second, so it's a great win at low cost. So some key takeaways: extend, don't replace. So Power Apps comes with its own great capabilities, so it's a very good idea to extend instead of like going everything from the scratch and doing it full stack. So serverless is pay per use and 1 million free executions per month. I'd say focus on like another key takeaway is enterprise integration, like I mentioned earlier. Build with governance first mentality. So yeah, in production, if you're doing this in production, I used function keys. We would use Azure AD authentication. Make sure the input validation is done correctly. You do not want QR codes for random names and email addresses. Use Azure Key Vault for secrets. And a bunch of things here. I don't know if I crossed my time, but yeah, version control, use Git and CI/CD pipelines and have environment separation and logging and everything. So thank you. That's all I have.
Awesome stuff, Sailaja. Thank you so much for sharing. Again, everybody, that was her first time presenting on the call. So I think an extra special thank you for willing to come on the call and share it with the community. Great job. We appreciate all of our presenters today, Ian, Vipul, Sailaja. Shane, how about some gifts of gratitude?
Great job, all three of you today. I really enjoy the diversity of what we get here, right? Like, we had some, documentation. Right, we got into the nitty gritty of Dataverse security roles, and man, those are pain. So thank you for helping with that. And then of course we've got good old, supercharging our Power Apps with Azure Functions with a very practical demo of QR codes. Like these are just all like things that I wasn't ready to think about today that I got to think about because you guys all came on and shared. And it's just always a good reminder for everyone, like, whatever you've got, whatever you're thinking about, share, join the community, get out, present. Whether it's your first time or it's your 1,000th time, we're very happy to help. I know David loves to take new people under his wing and kind of make sure that you feel really comfortable doing this. Or if you're just a classic presenter, then you can jump right in and, do your thing. But really appreciate all of you sharing your knowledge. Super great information today. So kudos.
Absolutely. Aw, yes, absolutely. Thanks, Shane. All right, everybody, let's wrap this up. What are some resources we've got for you? Well, if you're in this call, hopefully it means you like community calls, and we've got more. So every Tuesday, we've got the weekly product updates with Microsoft speakers. That is every Tuesday. And now we've got our weekly community call for community, right? So what does that mean? You used to hear us say we've got the bi-weekly siblings. We just simplified it. Every Thursday, 7 a.m. Pacific time is a call dedicated to the community by the community. So it makes it easy for everyone to get the single invite and join the single call. We've also got the monthly Power Platform call, which you are here right now, and of course our Office add-ins call. You can get access and the invites to all these calls at ak.ms/community/calls. And looking ahead to next week, we do have our calls. So if you're in the States, it is a holiday week, but we will still have our calls on the 25th, which is Tuesday. Paolo will be on call to talk about integrating Azure AI Search for RAG and Copilot Studio. And then Vesa and Andrew will be talking about introducing the new toolchain in SharePoint Framework 1.22. And we will still have the call on Thursday as well. So Chris Kent will be our humble host, and that's always entertaining, worth your time. If you're at home and want to laugh, it's always a good time. You can also join our Discord server. We are almost at 3,000. I think we are just shy of that. So you could be the one that gets us to 3,000. And what will you get for that? A hug from Jain and I. We will absolutely give you a big hug if you are the 3,000th member in our server. That'd be awesome. We also would love to get some feedback from you. So feel free to let us know what's working, what could be improved. Just do please keep it positive. We would love to absolutely do more for you all to ensure that you're getting the most out of these calls. So please don't hesitate to let us know. The recording will be available in 24 hours or less on the Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel. You can subscribe at ak.ms/community/YouTube. You can also follow us on all the socials, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Twitter/X. The next call will be December 17th, 2025. So just that third Wednesday of December. We look forward to seeing that. You can download the invite, ak.ms/Power Platform Community Call. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your week, a wonderful weekend. We will see you soon. And there's another call tomorrow, by the way. Mention that. There's another call tomorrow. So we'll love to see you there. Bye-bye.
Thank you.